Ever wonder what secrets governments bury, literally? Let's travel back to a time of global conflict, when Britain greenlit a project so top secret, even its own parliament was kept in the dark. The project's purpose was intentionally vague, but its funding was immense, and its location incredibly remote. Deep beneath the British countryside, a massive underground facility was carved out, engineered to withstand the most devastating bombings imaginable. The nation's brightest minds, scientists, engineers, and top military personnel were quietly recruited. They signed strict secrecy agreements, believing their work was vital to protecting the country. They were told they were building a shield for the nation. What they weren't told was the terrifying gamble they were a part of. Inside this subterranean labyrinth, experiments began to push the boundaries of known science, far beyond established safety protocols. Internal memos, which would only surface decades later, paint a chilling picture. Scientists warned their superiors about catastrophic risks and the irreversible consequences if their work went wrong. But these warnings were consistently ignored. The pressure to succeed, to win the war at any cost, was just too great. Then, one fateful night, the inevitable happened. Deep within the facility, an alarm blared through the concrete corridors, a sound no one was ever meant to hear. The complex power systems flickered and died, plunging the lower levels into darkness. As a final, desperate failsafe, massive steel doors automatically sealed, locking down the entire research zone. The workers trapped inside were never seen again. Their fate remains one of Britain's most guarded secrets. Within days, the entire site was officially shut down. The public explanation was flimsy at best. Structural concerns had made the facility unsafe. But the truth was far more sinister. Classified documents, painstakingly declassified years later, revealed a frantic cover-up. The facility wasn't just decommissioned, it was entombed. Specialized crews were brought in under the cover of night. They poured thousands of tons of concrete into every entrance, every ventilation shaft, permanently sealing whatever was inside from the outside world. All records of the project were locked away in the highest security vaults, stamped with a classification level that ensured they would not see the light of day for generations. The land above the buried facility was declared a permanent restricted zone, fenced off and patrolled. But the story doesn't end there. For years afterward, locals from the surrounding villages reported strange, low-frequency vibrations emanating from the ground, a deep hum that seemed to come from the earth itself. Even more unnerving were the periodic visits from unmarked military vehicles. They always arrived in the dead of night, never stayed long, and left before sunrise. What were they monitoring? What were they still so afraid of? To this day, the complete story of the buried facility remains locked away. The official records are sealed, and the government refuses to comment. We're left with a terrifying puzzle. What kind of experiment could be so dangerous that the only solution was to bury it under a mountain of concrete? What happened in those final moments after the alarm sounded and the doors sealed? Whatever it was deemed too horrific to explain and too disastrous to ever admit. The secret lies dormant, deep beneath the quiet British countryside, a permanent, silent monument to a failure too great to acknowledge. Thanks for watching. If you find these hidden histories as fascinating as I do, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the unknown. See you next time.